Welcome, everybody. We're so excited to have you here this weekend. My name is Beth Flowers, and I'm the Executive Director of Beat Street, and one of the co-collaborators of the Arts Incubator of the Rockies. So we want to do quite a few thank yous to get things started. This has been an amazing process, and we're so happy that you're here today because this is still part of the process of creating the curriculum that we're designing. Which makes sense, because what we're trying to do is pretty extraordinary and really is getting at how we can change society and change the world. So that's taken a lot of people to make that happen. So we have some thank yous to some of our sponsors. The National Endowment for the Arts was a big contributor early on, so we're so proud and thankful that they endorsed the idea of AIR and the concept, and their funding helped design and pay for the design of the curriculum for this program and for bits and pieces of all sorts of programs that you'll see in the future. Also, thank you to the Downtown Development Authority. Without their leadership and vision, Beat Street would not exist at all. So we really love that the DDA and really the city of Fort Collins understand that art and culture are economic drivers. They're the things that make our community great, and they're willing to invest in that. So we thank them significantly. The City of Fort Collins Cultural Services Department is, of course, one of our partners, as is Colorado State University School of the Arts, their brand new LEAP Center, LEAP Institute. It's so new that I don't know what the name is. They are just designing their curriculum and are proud to say that they are moving quickly, quicker than perhaps any other program has at CSU, in getting approval for a brand new minor and a master's program in arts, entrepreneurship, and leadership. So very exciting switch for them, and they were part of the sort of triumvirate of us and the city and CSU working together to put together this pretty interesting incubator idea. So we also have some new funding partners that we want to thank. You are some of the first to hear about this news. The Emily Hall Tremaine Foundation from Connecticut have just given us a 2-year grant, and they are seen as the premier funders in the country for arts professional development. We're so proud to be a part of their family of experts. And delighted that they have been so helpful. They're amazing granting, a granting organization. So they've provided some advice, important advice along the way that we would have made even more mistakes than we already have without their help. So even before we were funders, they were helping us do this work. So that was really awesome. And then also the biggest news is that this has not even gone public, but it's semi-public, so I can tell you, which is that we are the proud recipients of the very first Americans for the Arts Innovation Grant. It's a partnership between Americans for the Arts and the Ovation Channel. We're one of 3 in the nation that were chosen to receive this award. And so we're so excited and proud of the work that everyone has been doing here, because without all of you sitting in these chairs over and over and over again for the past year, we wouldn't know what we thought we needed to teach and what we needed to change. So this has been a great group process. We also want to thank our state partners. As you've gathered, we're gathering steam. We have, of course, the Colorado Creative Industries right here in Colorado. But also we have the Wyoming Arts Council, the Nevada Arts Council, the Utah Arts Council, North Dakota, Idaho, South Dakota, New Mexico, and Montana have all been participating in the process of building the Arts Incubator. So to have their state arts councils working on this program means that we have legitimacy. It's what excites a lot of the national funders, is that we're playing together, we're thinking together, and planning together. And of course we want to thank Rocky Mountain Atmosphere. This is the building where you are today. This is the home of our tech incubation and clean energy incubation here in Fort Collins. This is a smart building, so be aware that sometimes the lights are a little bit funky, because when the light comes up and down outside, the lights will change inside appropriately. Also in the bathrooms, the lights will be off if no one is in there, but they will turn on, I promise, as soon as you walk through the door. And also, if you have, who's been here before? Yeah, a lot of you have been here before. So you know about the deal in the bathroom? The dryers are really loud, so everyone will know if you don't wash your hands. So be careful. Don't let us know. But the other things that I want to do is introduce some of the people who have been really integral to making today happen. One of those people is back in the back. Kari Munson is our project director, project manager. Kari makes this whole ship run smoothly, so big thanks to her. Carrie Miller, who's our office manager, who many of you may have spoken with or communicated with, is in Italy. So, we can't really say anything but have a good time. But we know we're going to have fun here as well. So also thank you to Bruce Freestone, who is in the back. Bruce is the president of the board of Beat Street and also will be one of our facilitators this weekend. So we have a couple of other board members while we're in the back of the room. David Bowen is right here. He's one of the co-founders of Begin Again Toys and a former tenant of this building. So we're happy that David's with us. And Mel Buchholz is, raise your hand, Mel, is another proud Beat Street board member, so we're thrilled to have Beat Street board members here. Also, Jamie Donnelly is over on the corner over here. She's another one of our facilitators for the weekend. So these are faces that you will see a lot. And, of course, our shyest member, Kat. She's making coffee because she is she's playing the role of Carrie as a volunteer this weekend, so she can take care of any logistical questions you have about food, drink, those sorts of things. And also, Colleen Zubrick is in the back of the room as well. Colleen works with Mission Spark. They've been helping us with curriculum design on a variety of levels, and Colleen was at the last pilot, and she's going to be helping us this weekend. She's watching us. She's keeping her eye on us to see whether we're following the script and whether we need to change things. So if you have comments besides the kinds of evaluation that we'll have you do every day, feel free to talk to Colleen along the way. So I think those are all of the introductions that I need to do. Oh, and Scott Busson. Scott Busson is behind the camera. He's also my husband. In the role of many husbands. Thank you. But since this is a pilot, this is only a pilot, we really are taking seriously your comments and your ideas and insights into what happens this weekend. And we're also going to be filming a fair amount of it as well, so that we can review exactly what we've said, and so that we can use that for training in the future, because we will be training facilitators over the next several months, and probably, hopefully, into eternity, because this program will travel throughout the Intermountain West beginning in 2013. So, are you ready? All right, so let's do it. So, will the clicker work? It does. So, thank you again, all of you, for being here. We are all here, I believe. You are really the ones who helped us get to this moment, and we really think that we've created something that will help you unleash your creativity and think about your career, your world, in a completely different way. We hope that some of the things that you're going to learn this weekend include learning to listen to yourself, but also listening to others in a different way. That you get a little bit more friendly with technology. And we hope that you're going to really realize that you have way more to offer the world at this moment in time than maybe you realize. So, and the reality is that we have a really interesting planet that we live on right now. The world is in a fascinating place, and in fact there are lots of people who are suffering and lots of people who are trying to figure out how to manage where the world is. And we are lucky, and see there are the lights. Oh, maybe
it's actually because of me.
But the thing that I want to say today, though, is that we are so lucky. We live in the richest country still in the world with more opportunities than any others, and I think that gives us a responsibility to really take into account what we have, take account of our blessings and the things that we have potentially to offer to folks who have less than we do. So that's one of the reasons that we're here today. I really think it's the best time that I certainly that I can imagine in all of my 44 years but to be a creative and to be an artist. The world is ready for us finally, and they're ready to value us and to honor us in a completely different way. We're the key. We're the key to solving the problems for the world. So the thing that's interesting is, what is this whole paradigm shift? What the heck is it that we're talking about? What we're talking about is how several different things have come together to converge in the last, say, 20 years that have made everything change for us. Technology is part of that. Obviously, the world is not what it looked like 20 years ago. We couldn't have imagined 20 years ago that if we gave $25 to a woman in South America, she would have a successful business. Microfinance was not even anything we could have imagined. And all of a sudden, the small contributions that we can make such a big difference. Look at telephones and cell phones. There are countries in Africa who never even bothered to build landlines because it's faster and better to just use cell phone technology, and they're connected to the World Wide Web in a way that some of our small rural communities aren't even connected. So that change has caused a lot of people to think differently. For me, a big part of this shift happened after 9/11. I have always wanted to save the world. Some of you who know me realize that's probably true. But my parents were musicians and business people, and they were community activists. And I was certainly encouraged from an early age to be artistic and to be creative. I played the piano, I sang, I played the flute, played the recorder, trap band. Remember those trap band family singers, whatever they were? Yeah. Everyone had a recorder. But those musical moments, for me, didn't feel like they were going to be enough to help change all of the problems that I saw in the world that needed help. And so I turned away from my artistic side and my creative side and went into politics after I got out of high school. It sounds crazy, but it's what I did. And I spent almost 10 years in the world of politics trying to make change, actually helped pass laws, actually got candidates elected, and learned a ton about how people communicate and how to compromise and how to think about how people engage in civic dialogue or in not-so-civil dialogue. And what I found ultimately was that it was not that satisfying work. I didn't feel like I was actually changing things, even though laws were changing, because I wasn't touching people in their hearts. You know, changing a law about funding even for the arts, or for the environment, or for Make Your Cause. There's something different about just money than actually having a human connection with people. So I stepped a little bit farther away from politics and got into city development, because I thought maybe if I worked on my own city, that would be closer to people. And ended up in charge of downtown St. Louis, sort of by accident. I had a degree in literature, you know, and that was a really interesting process. I led one of the first downtown planning processes that had happened in a big major metropolitan city, a dying metropolitan city, St. Louis, back in the 90s. And we spent 2 years, 1,000 people participated in the planning process. It was amazing, and we were going to bring back downtown St. Louis, and a new mayor was elected. And all of a sudden, politics came back. And suddenly that plan that so many people had put so much time and energy into was thrown away, and some of the development projects that I had worked on literally for years were put on the back burner. Paid $1 million to get the developers of the very first new construction housing that would have been in downtown St. Louis since the 1960s. Now there's a casino there. So I got really depressed at that moment. And 9/11 happened, which sort of shook, I think, a lot of us up in a new way, realizing that we weren't alone in the world and that our golden life that we had maybe wasn't quite so golden. And thought, gosh, this is really an interesting time. And at the same time, I met Scott Busson, who was not my husband at the time, who is a musician and an artist who does a lot of work with the senior population. And to see a musician playing music for people who have Alzheimer's, who have not spoken to their families and don't know their families, and suddenly they are singing songs and actually know the words, that changed my life and my worldview. It's like, wait a minute, art is actually what's going to save the world. Art is what touches people from their hearts, and it's what makes all the difference, and that's why we're really here today.